Welcome to Real Leaders with Roshini, the podcast with real talk, real questions, real insight, and we hope real inspiration. For real. We're at Capitol Grill in downtown Minneapolis, and you're in for a real treat because my two guests right now are no strangers to one another, and you'll find out why shortly. They are Tom Wiese, celebrity dealmaker and co-founder of StudioE, and Nate Garvis. He is advisor to explorers of all types and co-founder of StudioE. Guys, I'm so excited. I'm already brimming with excitement to chat with you together.
Well, I would say that we're really happy to be here.
And honored.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, given the fact that you're part of the StudioE family, this is really special for us.
All right, let's start there. So, Tom, you're who you are. Nate is who he is. And you two come together, best friends since 7th grade, to form StudioE. What is it? Why should people care?
Well, StudioE came through a walk we took 10 years ago in Aspen when we were on vacation together. And we realized a lot of our awesome friends were really struggling with the rate of change that was going on. And that was 10 years ago. It seems like that was really slow compared to today. It's only been getting faster.
And then you just started chatting through that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we these are people who are actually winning on paper, but and to this day, I think I speak for Tom too, it's not unimportant to us that we created StudioE out of concern for some friends that we wanted to see happier and more successful. But to what Tom was saying is that this world is becoming more and more unpredictable. And we wanted to create an experience for folks that would allow them to thrive in arenas where it was really beyond your ability to predict, plan, and manage your way through something. In addition to being able to do that, we wanted to create skills and experiences and practices in people that would allow them to learn their way forward in arenas where it was just too ambiguous or volatile. As Tom was saying, tomorrow is not going to be slower than it is today.
No, it just keeps on getting faster. So, Tom, this studio, which is now many years strong, you have people who come to you who are already very successful in one or more ways. How do you teach them new things?
Well, yeah. So we don't take broken people and try to fix them. We take awesome people and unleash them. And we do that by just getting them together with some intention and with some time and with some tools that we've developed with Babson, which is the number one entrepreneurial college probably in the world, don't you think? And when you put great people together with just some time, they do great things. And it's just been so rewarding to see how many great people there are in this community. You know, and you know it too. Like through your podcast, you're just interviewing great leaders left and right constantly. This is a deep well.
Yeah, it's a deep well.
Yeah.
That have some connection to the Twin Cities, but could be working all over the country or the world.
Well, and we actually have people from outside of the Twin Cities as well. And to augment what Tom is saying is that it isn't just great souls. It's a ridiculous diversity of souls. If you really want to learn and grow, you have to hang out with people who are different than you. And as we get older and more successful, it becomes really natural to silo yourself with people who do what you do or think the way you do. So we've created this safe place to think and act dangerously. We do help people learn and grow, which you can't do from a place of comfort. But as you know, we make it pretty fun to be discomforted as well.
Right. And when you're doing it together in community, it's helpful. Talk about this notion of the explorer mindset.
Well, exploratory leadership is what we basically guide people through, and that's the ability to go into the unknown and come back in one piece and use what you've learned to basically create the future that you desire versus just reacting to everything that's happening. And when you go from reactive to proactive, it is hugely transformational. And people then can create stuff that they want with joy and add value instead of just always hanging on.
Right, and I would add again that it's about harnessing your curiosity, and that's easier said than done. and being deeply grounded in either your personal purpose or your organization's purpose and putting it into action. Exploratory leadership is all about creating actions ahead. It's not about thinking your way forward. It's about acting your way forward and doing so from a place of clarity. In fact, we like to say that the antidote to all of this uncertainty is to not create certainty. You can't do that. It's actually to create clarity. Clarity is enough to move into with confidence.
I want to talk about both of you now individually, getting away from the studio for a moment, because you're each quite unique individuals. Nate, you were a high school dropout, yet that didn't stop you. You went on to get quite an education, 18 years at Target as Vice President of Government Affairs. You have a TED Talk, which, you know, in this day and age is a big deal. Change Our Culture, Change Our World is the title. Tom, you are an attorney to the stars, such as Andrew Zimmern. Terry Gross of Fresh Air. Anyone who loves radio loves her, regardless of your political persuasion. Mm-hmm. So you two could have just continued to go on in your own spaces. A very fun fact about you is that you've been friends since 7th grade.
True.
I mean, to me, that is a beautiful thing for two men who are married. You have your own families, but you have stayed close and maybe even gotten closer.
Oh, absolutely. If I can blow a little smoke at my friend Tom, we created StudioE by accident, and yet it feels inevitable. And the fact that I get to partner with someone like Tom is one of the most joyful things that's ever happened to me. And I wasn't searching for joy. I was in pretty good shape. To your point, Roshini, I think Tom had a ridiculously successful law practice. I had a pretty healthy strategic counsel business going on. And we just kind of stumbled into this need that we saw out there and figured out that no one was doing it, so we ought to actually just try it.
It's a quest.
It's a quest.
We're going to keep going on this quest until we can go no further and hand it off to someone else.
Which is wonderful. And, you know, having spent time with both of you individually and together, learned from you both, I consider you friends and mentors. One thing that is very apparent is you are both givers. You're very generous of your time and your talent and your brain power. Speak to that for a moment, because there's a real difference between coming from a place of abundance versus a place of scarcity. And some people are really in scarcity mindset right now.
Yeah, it's a beautiful question. Thanks for asking it. I guess I'll answer it this way, Roshini. And you know from your experience within the studio that it starts with getting grounded in purpose. And my purpose for years has been to create civic health. I deeply believe that no one does well in a bad neighborhood, and others will bitch and moan about who to blame, why the neighborhood went bad. But I like to roll up my sleeves and partner with others and just make the neighborhood better. So in answer to your question, being generous with my time, being generous with my spirit is benevolently selfish of me, is that I can't build a better, community on my own. I need to find the Roshinis of the world and help her along her path, because your success actually does equal my success.
I mean, our values are curiosity, generosity, and growth. And those all are generative attributes that allow us actually to be with others that are the same way. And so generosity, like Nate said, it's almost self-serving in a way, because you get to see so many people doing so many amazing things, and you see the world with such joy and optimism versus some of the information that we're getting from major news outlets these days.
Yes, or as we like to call it, angertainment.
Right. That's a whole other podcast conversation. Tom, what is the strangest thing about Nate that we might not know out there?
Oh, there's so many things. I would say, the strangest thing about him is he is an amazing, and I mean an amazing, cook. Like, he can cook anything. And so when we go on ski trips and stuff, he always says, "Do you want an egg bake or something?" And it's astounding. I hang out with a lot of chefs, and he is almost like a little JV chef.
I love that. And Nate, what is the strangest thing about Tom?
The strangest thing about Tom, oh my. I don't know if I would call this strange, is that Tom, well, maybe it is strange. Tom can all at once cause a storm and be the calm eye in the middle of the storm.
That's quite a skill. And speaking of storms, are there ever times where your individual wives say, get away from me, go hang out with that guy?
Oh, yeah.
All the time. It's highly encouraged on a regular
You're
basis.
each other's timeout
Yes.
for the wives.
Well, and the thing is Tom's actually known my wife longer than I've known my wife. So, and I've known Tom's wife, Janine, for, decades as well. So there's, I think that's part of the reason why this is easy and fun is that we're not getting to know each other. We know each other so well. Bumps and stumbles.
But there's
together,
a strong
all that.
base of trust there.
Yeah, we can also have fierce conversations. So, like, if you didn't know us and you came in and you saw us debating something, people go, these guys are really fighting a lot. But it's always about making what we're doing better. It's not personal. So it's always about being real honest, giving each other constructive feedback so we do get better, because we're obviously very imperfect. But we trust each other enough so that we can actually get to the point quicker instead of dancing around the issue, which is hard when you don't know people well.
Well, I want to talk about fierce conversations. I love that term, Tom. What is your advice to people who don't have the skill sets that you do or don't think they do, and yet they need to have these fierce conversations in their lives?
Well, my sentence is to live a truthful life and help others do the same. The faster you can get to the truth, the sooner you can actually be designing a relevant solution to whoever you're dealing with. So often you're trying to solve something that's not even the problem because you're not honest enough with the people you're involved with to get to the heart of the matter.
I'll add to that too, in agreement with Tom. Understand the difference between wrestling with an idea and wrestling with each other, right? So what Tom's talking about, and we wrestle all the time. Constantly. And we do it joyfully because we're so passionate about what we're trying to produce out there, that we care so much about it, that we're really quick into getting into these wrestling matches as to what's working well, what could be made better, and all that kind of stuff. And we don't really wrestle with each other. In fact, we're big believers in the power of imperfection, and we celebrate each other's imperfections that way.
I love that. The power of imperfection. And maybe the world would be a better place if more people believed in that or felt it was okay.
Well, you're doing this podcast about leaders. I'll tell you, because as you know, we've run with thousands of different kinds of leaders in just about every sector you can imagine. I can't really recall ever meeting a very talented leader that was great at everything. Usually they have kind of like a savant-like skill or experience that they just are artists at, and they're very aware of where they're not skillful, and they're very quick to go find people who can fill in from that, not from a place of brokenness. This is a big thing in the studio. It's from a place of incompleteness, and incompleteness is not a judgment. It's an invitation to where can you go with that.
I like it. Very well said. I also know you two like to have fun. You may even be called partiers, but you like to bring others into the celebration. We're here at Capitol Grill. Lots of celebrations have come through these walls. Lots of drink, lots of food. If Tom were a cocktail or a wine, what would Tom be?
It would have to be something that you can drink in a shot. I would say a coffee-based drink with Red Bull and bitters.
Wow, because just what he needs, Nate, more energy.
Exactly.
What would Nate be?
He has a much more sophisticated palate. So.
Well, it probably would be a spirit-forward whiskey-based cocktail. I think life is way too short to drink bad whiskey. I would say it would be a cocktail made with High West Yippee-Ki-Yay whiskey with maybe some chocolate bitters.
Wow.
And maybe a little orange zest.
Is that what you have in your flask right now?
Yeah. Only when we ski.
All right, I have to break up this bromance a little bit to ask for advice you would give to people out there to keep it real and fun and sexy with their spouses.
wow. Okay. So I've had this issue. And what worked with me is just really trying to be present and giving the relationship intention and being honest about that and making your spouse a priority. So unfortunately, one time my wife told me, I just wish you'd treat me like one of your clients sometimes.
That's a big ouch.
That was ouch. And so I thought, you know what? That's a wake-up call. And so now I do. I treat her like she's my best client. And that's been really helpful. It's not always easy, but with the intention and the appreciation and just constantly having it on the top of your mind, it really works. And you get to a place where you're more connected and you're more present.
That's good. Years ago, I had a conversation with a friend of mine who has been married multiple times, but she had this description that I thought was really helpful in answer to your question, that you get married and you move into this big house with one another, and over time, inevitably, you close off rooms to one another as you grow in different ways and you have different interests, because marriage as we know it is a 600-year-old institution that really wasn't designed for the way we're living right now. And what I took out of that is make sure that you are sharing rooms in the house. Like, so a lot of people, that's their children. And it may be one of the reasons why they get into trouble once they're empty nesters, is that was the last room in the house that they shared. For my wife and me, it's travel. I like to joke that my wife takes a once-in-a-lifetime trip every 4 months. It's her superpower. She plans travel like no one I have ever met, and it's been an amazing thing for our family. It is definitely an example of one of the rooms that we share in the house. We love to travel together. We're our best versions of one another when we're traveling, and it's something that we prioritize.
It's all about priorities.
It really is.
All right. Tom Wiese, Nate Garvis, thank you so much. Just a pleasure and an honor to have you with us today.
Thank you, Roshini. And
Yeah,
thank
thanks,
you,
Rosh.
Capital Grill.
Yeah, thanks, Roshini. This was really a lot of fun.
Until next time, keep it real.